Hey Pisces, I'm actually just taking a moment. I just finished doing both the general read as well as the extended reading for Patreon. And the general reading here, I just wanted to record this because the general read here for YouTube, it was very specific, and I do encourage you to watch it. I think it was something that a lot of Pisces need to hear. But here's the clarifier on that. It did not go into romance or relationship things during the general reading at all. It stayed very much on just like career and things related to more like professional aspects of your life. In the extended, which is over on Patreon, it did speak to much more about the relationship. And there was one moment during the reading that I decided I would just share with you here. So I'm just gonna put a little snippet of that video in a bit, so you could just see that moment, and then your general reading will actually begin after that. And I'll make sure to put some titles or things up so it's more clear of what I was talking about. But the moment was so funny, and it came out after some really crazy cards about relationship and love. And so I know not everyone is going to go over to Patreon to do the extendeds. And so I wanted you guys to just see that moment, whoever watches this video, because it made me laugh. And it was also it was crazy how it happened. So I'll put that in now. Thank you so much. And then your general will follow right after this. But you can't let one experience dictate how you think all similar experiences will play out. See if we can just clarify this Fool card a little. Clarify the Fool in reverse for Pisces. I almost felt like one flipped. No. There is a card that wants to come out though. Clarify the Fool in reverse for Pisces. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Guys, that actually flew on top of my candle. I've never had that happen before, and it actually scorched it. But it is a King of Swords. That is intense, you guys, because that also completes this. We have a true pair here on the board. I'm sorry, I'm just like, that was crazy. I mean, it's just soot. It wiped right off. That's crazy. So, yeah, what this is saying, this makes total sense. Hello, Pisces. Welcome to your May 1st through the 15th, 2019 love reading. I just want to start by saying I have tons of allergy issues going on right now, so I'm sorry if I sound congested or if I sniffle or clear my throat during the reading. I'm going to just put some information up on the screen right now. It's stuff that I used to say at the beginning of all the videos, and I just got tired of saying it. And it adds time to the reading that, you know, I don't think it needs to be there. So I did do a pre-shuffle before starting the video, and I'm just going to shuffle through a bit more with these cards. We'll start with these. I don't necessarily have a specific spread planned for you. I'm just gonna see what the cards show, and we'll clarify as we need to. And I think we'll get started. I'm gonna do 2 cuts of the cards, and then I'll start with the top card and the bottom card, and then I'll pull a card out from the deck just to give us our first 3 cards to look at. So the 7 of Cups reversed, with the 8 of Pentacles upright. And the World card upright. Okay. So starting with the first card out, we'll start with the 7 of Cups. This card reversed speaks to being overwhelmed by your choices. So it seems like, especially with the 8 of Pentacles coming out next to it, this card speaks to the notion of learning, basically. So apprenticeships, developing your own skills and abilities, mastery of something. It seems like what's going on here is that with the World card, this card coming out upright, it speaks to a completion or an accomplishment. It can also represent, on like a spiritual level, it can represent integration or alignment within your higher self and your lower human self, your greater spiritual self, having an alignment between those two. So based on these cards, what I would say, Pisces, is that you're in a space in your life right now where you are realizing that there are some things that you're going to need to work on, some things that you're going to need to master. It could even potentially mean developing your own intuitive skills or figuring out what your career is going to be versus what your job is, if that makes sense. There's definitely an energy here of, in a way, it feels like frustration, but it's not frustration in the sense of, you're stuck. I mean, the World card didn't come in reversed. So it's not that, you're frustrated and stuck. You are going to take action, but it's more that you just realize that there are lots of things that you're passionate about. There are lots of things that you enjoy. There are lots of things that you could see yourself doing, but you're overwhelmed by that. And so you're not actually able to dive into any of them and actually master or even begin studying. So I think that you're being called to really sort of narrow down your choices. As I say that, Three of Pentacles comes out upright. This is another learning card, but this card also speaks to collaboration and teamwork. So it seems like potentially what's being asked of you here is to maybe enlist the help of some people who you really trust their opinion. Again, bringing people in, you don't necessarily want to just default to what they say, but having other people's input and opinion on a situation can sometimes help you just by offering different perspective. But ultimately, you need to make the decision that feels best for you. Now, the other thing that I will say that sort of came forward in that situation is turn to your spirit guides, ask them for help, make them sort of be the team that you're working with. I did get a sense that some people just aren't comfortable talking to others about this yet. It could be just that you don't really feel like you have it thought out enough to really engage in a conversation with someone about it. Or it could be that you're just feeling a little bit insecure about what it is that you are thinking about doing or contemplating doing, and you just don't feel like you can share that yet with your friends or your family. So in that situation, turning to your spirit guides or even trying to connect to your own higher self for guidance is another way that you can do that. I'm going to shuffle the deck twice and give it a cut and just take the top and bottom cards again. There's nothing here that I necessarily feel I need to clarify further. So we'll just see what wants to come out. I would prefer, honestly, to do a love reading for you guys, but let's see if maybe this is connected to that. So coming off the top, we have Temperance upright. That's good. Ten of Pentacles reverse. So Temperance is the card of balance. It does represent Sagittarius. I'll just mention that. I want to talk about these two cards together rather than separate. The Ten of Pentacles reversed. This is the card that speaks to is sort of like the obsessive side to wealth and success. It's where we become really fixated on attaining more, achieving more, having more, possessing more. The drive that we have around making money or being successful, it's no longer driven by doing something well and becoming a master at it. It's focused more on that job or that activity being a means to getting money or getting more things or getting more attention or focus. Temperance here is asking you to balance out the drive to attain more have more and make more, you have to find a balance between that. Having goals around money and finance is not necessarily a bad thing. It's good to push yourself to do better than you have before. It's good to set goals that require you to grow, but there has to be more in it. And I think this is speaking to these choices that you're trying to make, about what it is that you want to do, where you want to focus, where you really want to dive in to master and explore your talents and the things that you feel you're being called forth to do. The way that you'll end up being able to make a slightly easier decision and things make things a bit more clear around this is finding a balance between what type of income you can make from it and also what you will personally get from it and how it will feel to become successful in this, and why it's meaningful for you to become a master at this and to explore this and have accomplishments within it. You have to have a personal buy-in beyond just making money and being able to have things, because it's not enough to motivate you. You do have to have a tie-in around why it matters to you, and also how it can impact the world. So I feel like maybe this is going to be a bit more of like a personal, professional sort of reading. Just to shove a little bit, we're just going to stick with this top card, bottom card for a minute. We have the Page of Pentacles coming out with the Hierophant reversed. Okay. So this page is really, interestingly enough, this page does speak to skill development. It also speaks to financial opportunity. So what I feel is that either a message or some sort of signal or sign will be coming towards you, specific to a way or that's not. There's a process or a method of attaining skills or developing existing skills that I feel like you haven't quite thought about yet, or maybe you aren't aware that it's even a possibility. I just had the craziest thing pop into my head as an example of this, but it's actually a really good example. So there was a recent news article that was released that a certain celebrity, I'm not gonna give the names because people are very either they really love this person or they hate her, and so I'm not even gonna start a flame war here. But a person who's very well known has decided to explore a career in law, and in all of these articles about this person doing this, it's mentioned that they're not having to actually go through law school, that there are certain things in place where you can become eligible to take the bar and actually become an attorney by doing an apprenticeship at a law firm. And so that is the sort of thing that I'm talking about, where something is going to be put in front of you where you realize that there's another path or there's another avenue, way, method, process, however you want to think about it, to attaining one of these passions that you have that you didn't realize existed. The Hierophant coming out reversed really talks about going against what is traditional, going against things that are established as being how things are done. And so I think that it's a combo of two things. One, the path to getting there is going to be something that's non-traditional. It's going to be something that is new and unique, something that really challenges how people go about doing this thing. But also, I feel like this specific calling, this specific interest, or this specific career, whatever that might be, I feel that it itself is something that is slightly unconventional, something that goes against tradition, something that is on the front leading edge of how we think about things or how we deal with things. So this feels like it's just more information for you, Pisces. This feels very much like the universe and your guides are trying to help through this reading to give you insight into how you can connect and make this decision. It does feel like this is very confusing for you, and it's because it feels so heavy. This really does feel like a situation where you are aware that you are making a choice regarding your life path and the things that you will be devoting your passions and energies to for at least a very long time, if not lifelong. So it does feel very heavy and important, and it is, but you have to make a choice. You have to get started on this. You have to be able to narrow it down and decide what's yours and what is not yours. Let's give this a cut. And we are going to go top card, bottom card again from this new deck. Off the top, King of Cups. Off the bottom, we have the Princess or Page of Pentacles. I'm really curious because I wanted to take this card as well. I'm just going to go ahead and take this off the top and put it here. Okay, the High Priestess. That's why. Okay. I'm going to start here with this Princess / Page of Pentacles reversed. This is talking about procrastination, a lack of progress. You are currently in this energy, and it's not even that I don't even want to say that it's true procrastination. Let me explain that. I feel like you're spending a lot of time thinking about things and researching things. So it does feel like there's activity around this. It's not a full procrastination with no progress. But I feel like you are at a place where you don't need to do this thinking and researching anymore. And you're at a place where you do actually need to just make a decision. And you're procrastinating on that part for sure. This really does feel like it's, you just don't want to make that decision. Now, these two cards coming out, I want to talk about them separately quickly, but then I think these two cards are actually just sort of, again, like messages for you. The King of Cups, this is the king who's extremely emotionally balanced, one who has learned how to have true compassion and understanding for other people, but they don't try to control their emotions, but they also realize that their emotions don't control them. I think that this is saying to you that, yes, this decision feels very heavy. This decision feels like it's something that is super important, and it is, and it's important that you honor that and that you acknowledge that. But ultimately, you have to tune inward and trust your own intuition and how you feel about these things and be honest with them, and to realize that there's no right or wrong choice. There's just the choice that you really feel drawn to and the other ones, right? And it might feel like you're drawn to all of them. That's how the first, the cards that came out at the beginning, that's that energy. I'm overwhelmed by this and I don't know how to pick, and I don't know how to decide which way to go because I'm committing so much, and this is real. So I don't know how to pick the right one. Well, how you pick the right one is by, number one, making sure that you're not being overly emotional about it, but still be willing to feel the excitement and the passion that is pulling you towards, even if it's not just one clear one, if you can eliminate half of your options by weighing them and saying, okay, well, I don't feel as excited about this one as I do with this one, so I'm going to let this one go. The High Priestess coming out is a really good card here around this energy, because a High Priestess, with it coming out upright, this is really about your intuition and sort of the subconscious mind being a source of clarity and information for you. And this is where this process, you will be divinely guided in making the decision around this. Ultimately, you will, as long as you will tune into it and listen. That's the tricky part, because we do have free will and we don't have to listen to any of the guidance that we get. We can tune it out completely and just go about our lives. But when we do tune into it and we make the choice to listen, it makes things easier for us. It illuminates a path. It highlights things that are important, and it dims things that are distractions. So the easiest way for you to get about making this decision is to really rely on your feelings, your emotions, and your intuition. You're not going to be able to think your way through this. You're going to have to feel your way through it. Death card coming out reversed. This just represents, holding on, not letting something come to an end. It's fearing allowing change or fearing it taking a different direction. This feels like clarifiers. So we have coming out the Ten of Swords reversed, the Four of Swords reversed, along with the Five of Wands also reversed. So both the Ten of Swords reversed and the Four of Swords reversed have very similar vibes and energies to them. They both speak to, the Four of Swords just represents a period of really being exhausted and just like you're done, and you have no other choice here because of how burnt out and exhausted you are than to just go inward and have a very deep sort of contemplation about the situation, which I feel is like what you've been doing. The Ten of Swords coming out is good because it is a 10. It is reversed, so this can represent sort of that resistance to what you know needs to happen, resistance to allowing the ending that needs to occur from actually occurring. But the other thing about this card is that this can also just represent a period of time in which you are recuperating, recovering, taking a bit of a rest to get your energy back and to allow the things that you need to process to be actually processed. I do feel that it's important that you don't get stuck in that. That's sort of the theme of the whole reading. Don't allow yourself to get stuck. It is something you have to do. It is something that you have to go through, but don't allow yourself to get stuck here. Okay? So other card coming out, you have the Five of Wands. It is also reversed. This just speaks to sort of having either an inner conflict within yourself that you are unable to resolve, or it can also speak to having conflict with others or conflict with something that's outside of you that you are avoiding having that conflict. I think that this is more of that internal conflict of feeling like you can't make the decision, that you're going to make the wrong choice. Okay. I wanted to just get one more card to come out. We do have the Three of Cups coming out. This is another card, and I don't remember what the first one was that came out. It's down here somewhere. But this is another card that speaks to collaboration. It's a card of celebration and friendship. I think, again, this is just saying that finding ways that you can bring in others' thoughts or others' input or others' advice is going to be good. I think that your friends are actually a really good resource for you when it comes to getting that input and advice. I feel like they know you well, and they definitely would be willing to talk to you about the things, the options that you have. It's not necessarily that they're going to give you any clear cut, you should do this, but they are going to ask you questions or approach sort of the analysis aspect of what you're doing through a different filter than you do, because they do know you and they have insight into what they think will be something that would make you happy or something that would make you feel like you're being fulfilled by what you're doing and that you're actually exploring and ultimately living out your life's purpose. What you'll see when you go to these friends and you ask them these questions, you'll see that there are commonalities. You'll see that amongst this friend group, they all are going to gravitate towards the same 2 or 3 things from your main list. And I think that utilizing them as a way of removing everything else and then just looking at this top 2, top 3, that's going to make this decision making a lot easier for you and make it a little bit more clear, and also make it so that you can listen to the guidance, the internal guidance, specifically from the High Priestess, wherever she went. Here she is. And we're going to bring her right back up to the top, because I think these are the 2 ways that you ultimately get resolution around this. Go to your friends or trusted people whose opinion you trust, who know you well. Talk to them about what you're thinking about. Let them in on the options that you're weighing. Pay attention, because it will, once you've talked to several people, you'll realize that they're all basically talking about the same 2 to 3 things that they think you would be good at, or that they think you would enjoy, or that they think you should do. Once you get to that point, you'll be able to connect to this intuition and guidance a little bit more easily. And the choices will become much more clear to you, and you'll ultimately be able to make your decision at that point. So Pisces, this was interesting. Not a lot of love information here, but maybe this is what's most important to you guys right now. I'm going to end the general reading here. I am going to go ahead and do an extended reading on this. I'm hoping that maybe that reading is more of a love reading. I'm going to do that over on Patreon. So if you want to join me there, you can head over to that site. And I'm just the same screen name there as I am here. It's Keegan Tarot. What I'll do literally is I'll just stop this recording, start a new one. We're going to pick up right here and see what else will come out. And if you enjoyed this reading, if this resonated with you, if you did have lots of questions about your career or these choices that are in front of you about, where you're going to devote your time, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments about what things you're trying to weigh, how far you are into this process. What do you think are sort of standing in your way of being able to make the choice? I do really enjoy when you guys leave comments. Also, if you can take a moment just to give the video a thumbs up, to like it, that helps the video reach more people. And lastly, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please take a minute to subscribe. And if you want YouTube to send you notifications when new content goes up through this channel, just make sure that you click that bell notification icon, because that's how YouTube knows that you want to hear from them when new stuff goes up. I hope to see you guys over on the Patreon page for that extended reading. If not, I will be posting videos with readings for you guys for May 16th through the 31st. Those will be coming up in about a week or so. I'm going to try to get them out a little bit earlier than I've been getting these out. And also, I'll just be doing some random readings over the next couple of weeks as well, just sort of seeing what you guys like and what you're drawn to. So thank you so much for joining me, Pisces. Have a great couple of weeks, and I'm heading over to Patreon now.